WrestleMania is almost here, and now that the match card is official, yeah, we need to talk about it because this one has me all on the feels. I'm so excited about it. But honestly, this isn't one of those cards that feels predictable. It feels like one of those WrestleManias where anything could happen. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Mostly Me, Occasionally Wise. I am Brian, and in today's episode, we are stepping into WrestleMania week. One of my favorite times of the year, quite possibly one of my favorite pay-per-views as far as professional wrestling goes. The card is locked in, the matches are set. Now it's just time to break things down the right way. But before we get into all that, we've got to start with something new that's officially part of the show now. All right, so this segment that I'm going to be putting in each episode is called Dad Life Debrief. And this is where I just talk about what's been going on this week. Life as a dad, the chaos, the moments, all of it. And this week has been busy. And it's been that way since we've gotten back from Christmas break because my 13-year-old is in competitive soccer. So he practices 3 days a week. And then, of course, a lot of times on the weekends, we're traveling to tournaments, whether it's out of state, in-state, or even here at home. And fortunately, this past tournament over the weekend was here at home. So being that I had picked up an extra night at work, it was nice not having to drive an obscene amount of mileage to go see him play. I mean, not that I wouldn't have. I would have done it because I love watching my son play soccer. I love seeing him happy. But every now and then it's nice for, the Lord above to give us a break. So at the tournament, there was a lot of sun, a lot of heat. The breeze was nice, I will say that. But there was a lot of sunburn. I got fried a little bit. My wife, who's redhead, so she sunburns super easily. And then, of course, the toddler, just the back of his neck because he was just moving so fast during the tournament playing with all his friends that I don't really think the sun had a moment to catch up. So he was spared. My 13-year-old, he got a little sunburnt, but again, he was moving so much, and he was, when he wasn't playing, he had covered his head and was trying to protect his head from the sun. So a lot of sunburnt happened. So again, it's the price you pay to watch your kids have fun. The team, my son's team did really well. They won 2, lost 1. My 13-year-old son, I realized this weekend watching him play. He has improved so much on the field. His skill set is it's really kicking in. You can really see in the areas he was lacking how much it's improved. And I'm so proud of him for hanging in there because, yes, it can get tough. It can get, tedious, but he loves it. He enjoys it. And I love seeing the smile on his face when he's on that field and he's with his friends, and yeah, he's just loving life. So they won 2 games, lost 1. We were in the championship game, but something occurred. So there was a 3-way tie, and I'm not going to get into the details of this tiebreaker because I still struggle to fully comprehend it. But it came down to how many goals were scored this week, and we didn't meet it. But there was a scoring error that gave us an extra goal, so we had taken the spot. But one of the coaches who was keeping up with the score realized that he had made an error. He came out on the field, stopped the game, told the team what was up, pulled the team from the game, and came and talked to the parents. And, of course, everyone was a little upset. The coach that had to tell everyone was upset. It sucked, but we understood. And it all came down to integrity, and it was the right thing to do. Yeah, do I, as a dad, feel like we deserve to be there? Absolutely, because we were playing spectacularly in this championship game. We were tied 1-1, and it was against a team where they had a coach that chirped a lot. And what I mean by that is they had something to say about everything. They were consistently complaining about the refs, and of course, the parents of the opposing team fed off of that, and they got a little chirpy about what our boys were doing. And in return, when you talk about our boys, we want to chirp back, and before you know it, it's a Royal Rumble. Bleachers are flying everywhere. People are flying in the sky. All that good stuff. None of that happened, unfortunately. because I love a good Royal Rumble. But back to my story, we deserved it. But at the same time, I understand, rules are rules, and it was human error, and I get it. Humans aren't perfect. So we came home, we talked a little bit about it. We gave my 13-year-old a chance to unwind because he was a little upset about it, but all is good. And so, let's see, what else happened this week? My 4-year-old has gotten into this mindset to where he can do whatever he wants when he wants, and he has made it loud and clear. He consistently has told my wife and I both that I can do whatever I want. And he's picking it up from his brother, because his brother jokes around. But for my 4-year-old, he's not joking. He's serious. So there was a lot of consequences that occurred this week. And I'm sure it's just something 4-year-olds go through. But it's hard not to laugh when he is giving you that sass. And this happens a lot and I'm sure any parent who has a younger kid, there are moments where you're just like, I'm trying to lay the law down, but you're making it so hard to do that because of the way you're being animated in your delivery of disrespect towards me. And that was it. I mean, he would put his hands on his hips, and he's like, I can do whatever I want, and you can't tell me what to do. And I'm like, false, because I am the dad. I pay the bills. I put the roof over your head. So does your mom. And we're not going to be talked to like this. So a lot of times the consequences are go to your room and chill until you can lose that attitude, or you need to take a break from, unspeakable, or, whatever you're watching on YouTube that's kid friendly. You need a moment to let reality sink back in and know that you are not in charge of this house, regardless of how much you think you are. So let's see. That's honestly about it. My daughter came over with her boyfriend. We watched UFC this weekend, which was kind of cool. I hadn't watched a good UFC pay-per-view in a while, and there was pretty cool to watch. And it was a good bonding moment with him to get to know him a little better. And of course, it's always fun to get to spend time with my daughter. So yeah, that's my weekend review. That's my Dad Life Debrief. There wasn't a whole lot that went on, but there were little moments here and there. But I want to stress this point. I tell my kids that I'm proud of them all the time. And I struggle sometimes wondering if they hear it. And because they don't respond when you say it. And when you say things like that are sincere, you want some sort of little sign that shows that they're listening, and sometimes I don't get it. But if they're listening, I want you guys to know how proud of you I am. My 13-year-old, you have come a long way. I know we clash sometimes. I know our personalities are a lot alike, and that's where we do clash. But I am so proud of you. I really, really am. Seeing you succeed on the field and off the field, it's impressive to watch. And of course, to my 4-year-old, oh boy, I love you so much. And watching you learn and grow every day and enjoying little things in life, it just makes my heart full. And of course, to my 18-year-old, I am so happy that you're happy. I am so happy that you found someone that can give you the love and happiness that you deserve. He's a good guy, and life is just really good right now. It really, really is. I have anxiety and depression, and sometimes that gets in the way, but when I am on a high and I'm seeing everything that's going on around me, all the blessings that occurred, it's just amazing. It really is. And we have it so good right now. And I love it. Man, I love it so much. So yeah, let's get on to WrestleMania week, shall we? So before we get into the event in hand, as far as WrestleMania goes, I want to talk a little bit on why wrestling is a big part of my life. So I didn't have a great childhood growing up, and I needed escapes quite often. For me, it was going outside playing with my little brother. It was playing video games. And then, of course, it was an introduction to wrestling. I honestly don't know where my love started because I remember watching WrestleMania 3 with my grandfather. And WrestleMania 3 was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. And it was so fun to watch. And then later down the road, I want to say it was Starrcade 97 of WCW. And it was Sting versus Hulk Hogan. And that match was so good. And I think that's where my love started for wrestling, was in 97. So I started watching more of WCW and WWE. And of course, the Monday Night Wars were going on, where each show was on Monday night and they would go head to head. And it was a battle of ratings. So you didn't know what to expect from each brand each week. It was just a magical time for wrestling. But it was an escape for me. It was more than that. I related to a lot of these wrestlers, as far as what they were going through on the screen. I didn't know anything about them personally, but the stories resonated and they hit hard. And each pay-per-view, you would have matches that were just magical. They were unexpected. You didn't know, what you were getting into each pay-per-view. And I had my favorite wrestlers. I had the guys that I couldn't stand. We debated quite often about, the storylines that were going on in these, wrestling shows and pay-per-views. And to be honest with you, my brother and I wrestled quite a bit. We put on our own little shows. We put on our own little matches. We created moments for ourselves. And now watching it, as a dad, my daughter's not very much into it, but she enjoys it. My 4-year-old son, loves to wrestle, and he's a big Shawn Michaels fan. I'm hoping this weekend we could get him to watch it, but as a 4-year-old, your attention span's not the greatest. And my 13-year-old struggles to watch it because he knows that it's not all real, that it's scripted. I mean, it's sports entertainment. But the biggest thing for me is my wife. She didn't grow up watching wrestling. And, when we first started dating and we started getting serious, I brought it up. I brought it up that I was a huge wrestling fan and I wanted her to watch it with me. And she has watched all the shows. We've watched a lot of pay-per-views. We bought wrestling t-shirts. I mean, we've even made it a tradition that every year at WrestleMania, being that it's the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, we get a t-shirt representing our favorite wrestler. And that's what we did this year. We did it last year and the year before. The last 10 years we've done it. And it's just amazing. I mean, wrestling's fun to watch alone, but it's 10 times better when you're watching it with someone that enjoys it almost as much as you do. Because you can bounce ideas back and forth. You can enjoy the matches together. You can agree. You can disagree. It's just so much fun. And Becca, I know I tell you a lot how much I appreciate you, but to sit down and watch something with me that really means a lot to me because it was a huge part of my life and still is. I love you so much. So yeah, that's why, WrestleMania and just wrestling in general hits different with me because, I get to share now how special it was to me growing up. And I get to see the looks on my kids' faces when they do watch, when they get to see the power bombs or the jumping off the ladders or just the big magical moments or the plot twist in general. I love those moments. And I still get to experience those moments because I'm a big kid at heart. And of course, you get to see that a lot with WrestleMania. So because of WrestleMania, when it comes to, different perspectives and stuff, that's where it all comes together. WrestleMania, again, is the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, and that's where a lot of the storylines that you've seen develop over the last year or the last few months come to an end. And then, of course, some of the storylines still continue. So with that said, let's get right into WrestleMania. So here is how this is going to work. I'm going to go over the WrestleMania match card for each night on Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to give my winners, but I'm going to pick 3 matches that I'm really going to get in depth with. Because if I talked about each individual match in depth, this episode would be so long. Because when it comes to wrestling, I do have a lot to say. But I want to approach it as someone who doesn't watch a whole lot of wrestling, who maybe has never watched wrestling, but I'm interested in WrestleMania. So I want to give you 3 matches on Saturday and 3 matches on Sunday that you're going to enjoy, that I feel that you need to check out. I'm going to throw a couple of matches out there that are probably going to outshine the main event. And I'm going to give you a couple of matches that you just need to steer away from. So, with that said, let's get it on. All right, so for night 1, let's just get all the matches out of the way, and then I'll talk about the matches that are the most important that I feel that you need to watch. First off, you have the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee in his corner. The second match, you have Stephanie McCure versus Liv Morgan for the women's championship. You have Seth Rollins versus Gunther, AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the women's Intercontinental title. You have a fatal 4-way tag team championship for the women's tag team titles. You have Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. And then you have a 6-man tag match with Logan Paul, Austin Theory, ISHO Speed, LA Knight, and the Usos. So, let's go over the 3 that I feel that are going to really shine in night 1, and then I'll kind of give you my winners for the other ones that we talked about as well. So, match number 1 that I really think is going to steal the show is the Drew McIntyre Jacob Fatu match in an unsanctioned match. So what an unsanctioned match is essentially, it's one of those matches that's going to happen whether you want it to or not, because the WWE can't condone it. They can't be responsible for what happens in this match. We all know that's a story, but with unsanctioned matches, you get a lot of OMG moments. You get a lot of brutal moments. They're fun to watch because it's one of those matches where you can expect the unexpected. And for Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, these guys excel in matches like these. So when you get guys that are in matches that they specialize in, like this one, they're always fun to watch. And you're going to be on the edge of your seat the whole time. Drew McIntyre is your veteran in the match, and Jacob Fatu is your rookie. Drew McIntyre is the bad guy in this match, but he's one of those likable bad guys, and I'm going to pick him to win this match. I don't think this is the end of this rivalry. I think it's something that carries on after WrestleMania, just because it's been a really good story, and WWE sometimes capitalizes off something good that they've got going, and in this case, I think they're going to, and it's going to be something that continues. The second match I feel that you need to watch is the AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. So AJ Lee is your good guy in the story. She has the Intercontinental Championship, and then Becky Lynch is your bad guy. I love Becky Lynch. My wife and I both do. She is good on the mic, off the mic, and she's great in the ring. And that's what you want in a wrestler, is someone who has the total package. And so in this match, I really don't feel there's going to be a whole lot of outside interference. I don't feel like there's going to be a whole lot of weapons used. I really feel that this one's going to get settled fair and square in the ring. And it's just going to be an overall good wrestling match between two wrestlers that are good at what they do. So in this match, I'm picking Becky Lynch. So the last match of Saturday night that I really think you should focus on is this match is a grown man's match. And what I mean by that, it's going to be one of those matches that it's just going to be dirty. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be, end quote, violent. And that's Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Gunther is my favorite wrestler at the moment. He is such a good bad guy. He's good on the mic, off the mic. And he's good in the ring. And he's not flashy. You know, with a lot of wrestlers, you see them do flips and cartwheels and things like that. And yeah, those things are cool. But I tend to enjoy a wrestler who is just a brute, who is a tank in the ring. He doesn't need all the bells and whistles to succeed. He is going to beat you with pure strength. And that's what Gunther is. Now, Seth Rollins, he's very innovative. He's very creative. He's also the good guy in this match. And Gunther, like I said, is the bad guy. But with Seth Rollins, he's great. He is also a really good overall wrestler. He's great on the mic, off the mic. But his skill set is just kind of all over the place. He can beat you top rope moves. He can beat you with submissions. He can beat you with just wrestling you fair and square. But with this story that's been going on, originally Seth Rollins was supposed to fight Braun Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker is a part of a group that Seth Rollins used to lead. Braun Breaker turned on Seth Rollins. But when this match was supposed to occur, unfortunately, Braun Breaker got injured. I feel in this match, we see Braun Breaker return. He comes back, he beats up Seth Rollins, and Gunther gets the victory because of that. Which I understand from a storyline perspective. You know, you want to continue that story between Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Sometimes this bothers me when this happens because it can take away from the match in general. And in this match, I feel like we don't need the outside interference. I think it may be something that needs to happen afterwards, but not in the middle of the match, because this match, along with Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, really has a chance to steal the show. So those are my 3 matches you need to watch. You need to watch the Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu unsanctioned match. You need to watch the AJ Lee, Becky Lynch Women's Intercontinental title match. And then, of course, the grown man match, Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Now, as far as my winners for the other match, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. I think Orton's going to win this one. I think we see a heel turn from Cody Rhodes. Stephanie McCure versus Liv Morgan. I don't think this is going to be a good match. I really don't. I'm not invested in this match at all. I know it's for the women's title, but this is a refreshment match for me. And what I mean by that is this is where I get up and go refill my drink, maybe get a snack. I'll listen to the match just to see who wins, but it's not a match I'm invested in. So if I had to pick a winner, I think Liv Morgan is going to win because she's the bad guy and she's got a couple other ladies that she rolls with in a posse, and they're going to get involved. It's just going to be a messy match. And then you have the Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag team titles. When you have 8 people in a match like this, it can get messy. It can get really chaotic. It can get overwhelming. And I feel this is the way this match is going to go, which is sad because there's a lot of good talent in this match. I'll try to keep up with it. If I had to pick a winner, let's see who's involved. We have Lash Legend and Nia Jax, who are the champions, versus the Bella Twins, versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. The Bella Twins are going to win. It seems like they're really pushing for them to win the titles. The Bella Twins have been around for years as far as WWE's go. They were gone for a while and came back. And unfortunately, when you see something like that with a team or a person that's been gone a while and they come back, they try to get them back in the spotlight, which really bothers me. But I want to enjoy this match, but like I said, I think it's just going to be an overall chaotic match. And then, of course, last but not least, you have the 6-man tag match. You have Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and IShowSpeed. IShowSpeed is your first celebrity. You see, like I said, you see it a lot in WrestleMania against the Usos and LA Knight. I really like LA Knight. He's one of the more underappreciated good guys. He's incredible on the mic. He's an overall good wrestler. I think the good guys are going to win this one. The crowd's really going to be behind this one because it's the first match of the night. And like I said, when a crowd is really into a match, it just makes it 10 times better. So this is going to be a fun one to watch. And I have the Usos and LA Knight winning it. Now, as far as my match you need to avoid, and I kind of already touched base on those, and it's nothing against the wrestlers, it's just I'm not invested in the storylines, or nor do I, either. I'm just not into the wrestler, and that's the Stephanie Valkyrie, Liv Morgan Women's Championship match, and then the Fatal 4-Way tag match. And I've already gone over my reasons why these matches aren't going to be very good. So I would avoid those if you're a casual wrestling fan or someone who's just interested in matches. I've given you my 3 that you really need to focus on. And I really think, with those 3 that I've talked about, they really have a chance to overshadow a lot of the other matches. So let's move on to night 2. So now we have night 2. So before I get into the night 2 card, when you have a pay-per-view that has matches on 2 nights, it's always fun to debate which night had the best matches. And in this case, from my personal opinion, I think Sunday night has the better card, just because of the matches involved and the stories behind and just the wrestlers that are involved. So let's give a quick rundown. World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk champion versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wins this one. I'm not invested in this one at all. They've kind of hinted that Roman Reigns is going to win. I think there's going to be a lot of outside interference with this match. So your winner is Roman Reigns. Next, we have the WWE Women's Championship match. Jade Cargill, who's your champion, versus Rhea Ripley. I really like Rhea Ripley. She's great on the mic, off the mic, in the ring, and she's just a great person overall. I don't like Jade Cargill, and I'm just not digging the story that's behind this match. I really feel like that Rhea Ripley deserves better as far as a WrestleMania match goes. I feel that Jade should have never won the championship. I think they should have given it to someone else. But this match is just, it's not going to be good. And I hate it for Rhea because she deserves better. The next one is the United States Championship match between Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. This is one of those matches where I'm like, why is this here and why am I watching it? I don't like Sami Zayn. I never really have liked Sami Zayn. His character, his persona, or whatever he is, I don't like. And I have never figured out why people like him or why he's enjoyable. I think Sami Zayn, even though he's the champion right now, needs to take a break after this and just really reevaluate his gimmick and come back. Trick Williams is enjoyable to watch. I don't know a whole lot about him. He's an upcomer. I feel in this match that they're going to give the title to Trick Williams, and we'll see where it goes from there. You have Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, with this one, we're going to get Finn Balor coming back, but he's the demon persona, and this is the first match that I really think you need to pay attention to. So, you have 2 really good wrestlers in this match. Dominic Mysterio is your slime ball bad guy. He is the character he has developed as far as a bad guy goes has just been on point. He is fantastic at it. And to me, when a villain has created such a persona that you hate him, he's doing his job right. And then you have Finn Balor, who to me has always been underappreciated as a wrestler because he's fantastic to watch in the ring, and he's also really good on the mic. But he has this demon persona, which is not something we've seen very often because he has to wear a lot of face paint for it, and I can understand why it doesn't happen very often. He wants to make it special. But we're getting it back. So the best way to explain Demon Finn Balor is think of Venom and Spider-Man. So Venom is an alien that comes down and attacks Spider-Man when he's at his lowest point, and he becomes this force that destroys anything and everything, whether it's a good guy, bad guy, whatever. The same goes for Finn Balor when he has his demon persona. It resembles a Venom character. The face paint looks pretty close to Venom, but obviously for copyright reasons, they've changed it up a little bit. But he tends to leave it all out there when he's Demon Finn Balor, and that's always fun to watch. And I really think this is going to be a match where, you have some outside interference, but ultimately it's going to be a good wrestling match. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of craziness, but there's a lot of hate there. And when that spills over into a match, the emotions tend to have a huge part. And I really think the crowd's going to be invested in this. And when the crowd's invested and there's a lot of emotions, that's when you really get a good match. Next, we have the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Now, I love me a good ladder match, and I don't think there's a bad one out there. In this match, you have Penta, who is the Intercontinental Champion. You have Javon Evans, you have Rusev, you have Dragon Lee, JD, McDonough, and Rey Mysterio. There are a lot of high flyers in this match, and that's what ladder matches are based around, are people who can jump and do flips and cartwheels and crash through tables. It's just going to be chaos, and these matches are always fun to watch because it's expect the unexpected. And you're going to see moments in this match where you're like, holy cow, did that just happen? And that keeps you on the edge of your seat. And there are a lot of good wrestlers in this. We get a lot of luchadors. Luchadors are Mexican wrestlers who wear masks that are just, they have no fear. And then you have Rusev, who is your brute. You always have a brute in a ladder match, someone who's really strong, who's just an agent of chaos. And then, usually they're surrounded by high flyers. But a lot of times the brute never wins because he's usually the bad guy. And in this case, Rusev is the bad guy. And they're like, all the high flyers join forces together to take out the brute, and then chaos ensues. But ladder matches are always fun. Penta's going to win this one because he's really over with the crowd right now, and he just became champion, and very rarely do you see them take the belt off of someone so quickly like that. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this is something my 4-year-old would enjoy. I'm hoping to get him involved in this match, but we'll definitely see. So this next match is a match that has the potential to steal the whole show, both Saturday and Sunday. And I am talking about the Brock Lesnar-Oba Femi match. The build-up to this match has been so good, so good. And oftentimes when you get two beefy men, their movesets are limited. And I tend to struggle to enjoy matches like that. But in this case, I don't feel we're going to get that. I really feel this is going to be a match where it's just going to be brutal. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be violent. And not violent like graphically violent, but it's just, they're going to be beating each other up a lot. But the story behind this, it hasn't required a whole lot of microphone talk, and it's more about the display of Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi's strength. And it's just been incredible to watch this story develop. When this match was first created, the storyline first began, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is Brock Lesnar's manager and essentially the mouthpiece. They were looking for an open challenge. They wanted a match at WrestleMania, but nobody was answering. And then finally, Oba stepped up. And we were all like, oh, goodness, this is about to go down. I've got goosebumps. The crowd is 110% behind this, chanting Oba's name, going, Oba, hoo, Oba, hoo. I mean, they were just digging it. And I'm digging it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't stress it enough. This match is just, it's going to be a ground and pound kind of match, but it's going to be one of those matches that it's going to get chaotic quickly. And I think Oba's going to win it. But my only fear when you get a match like this that's just so popular and the crowd's really behind, and it being the first match of the night, is that the crowd gets so invested in this match, they are tired by the time your championship matches roll around, and they're just not into it anymore because they're tired. They're spent. And this Brock Lesnar Oba Femi, being that it's the first match of the night, has a chance to do that. And again, if I had to pick a match that was going to steal the whole show, this is it. This is the one you need to pay attention to. So the 3 matches on Sunday night that you need to pay attention to are Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio, the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, and of course, Brock Lesnar Oba Femi. So as you can see, just from my excitement alone, this WrestleMania, it feels unpredictable. And honestly, those are usually the ones that deliver the most. And with that said, I've given a lot of predictions, and I want to hear your side of it. I want to hear what your predictions are for the matches. I want to hear, which match you're excited for, who's walking out as champion, what's your bold prediction, what is that one match that could potentially steal the whole show. I want to hear all of this stuff. And of course, if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow, share, and come back next week. You can find me on Facebook, Mostly Me Occasionally Wise, or you can reach out directly at mostlymecontact@gmail.com. I can't wait to see all your opinions. And as always, make sure to stay mostly you, occasionally wise. See you next time.